Thank you, sir. It's now time to introduce our guest speaker, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Deepak Gupta, a finance professional with 16 plus years of experience, holds key qualifications like Chartered Accountant, All India Rank 34, Company Secretary, CPA, and an MBA from the Indian School of Business. His Big Four tenure spanned diverse industries including metal, automobile, sugar, FMCG, IT, ITS, and telecom. After an MBA, he served as Axe Fibernet's commercial head, excelling in process automation, commercial operations, project management, and cost optimization. Later, as head of finance at Move in Sync Technology, he contributed to Series B funding, achieving a 10x business growth in just 3 years. As the founding partner of Astravise LLP, he guides early and growth stage companies in strategic finance and fundraising. Well, Gupta is also a guest speaker at MS Ramaya College of Management and Edu Pristine, sharing insights on finance and general management. Outside work, he enjoys music, sports, and family time.
A huge round of applause for our speaker, everyone. We welcome you, sir. We now request you to take over the session.
Thank you.
Do you need the mic, sir?
Yes, that would be better. Hi, good afternoon, all. I heard that post-lunch session, the power of gravity increases. So honestly, I don't mind if your head leaning towards the ground. It's perfectly fine. I will be really worried if you fall on the ground. Just be on your chair. Thank you. So as it is informed to me that I have half an hour of time to cover a bunch of things. Honestly, I will try to touch upon as much as possible on the topics. Hello, am I audible? Towards the last, am I audible, sir? Okay, someone said yes, someone said no. So, can tech team please check that the mic, whether the sound is going in the last? Hello, is it better now? Okay, great. So, it's a manual problem, it's not a technology problem. So, first, definitely, I like to thank FKCCI and SIRC, our Aparna Raj sir, Divya ma'am, Nayak sir for organizing this amazing MSME and Startup Conclave. So, definitely, there are a bunch of things already covered in first half of this session, first half of today, and now I will cover the funding part. I was looking into the funding and like to know that, just want to understand what funding is. And when I was looking into thinking about it, I've gone through Google, where we all go to understand what any of the term is. My understanding is that funding, as say it is noun, it is something where money is provided by any organization or government to any of the corporate. That's what all our understanding is. So, before I jump into the funding, I like to just one small myth I want to break. What's the thought that why most of the MSMEs and startup fails? Any thoughts? Please, you don't need to stand up, you can speak. What do you think, what are the most important reason, one reason that most of the MSMEs and startup fails? Financial, funding. Any other thoughts? 3 seconds, sir. Business model, okay? Very close. Cash flow. All right, lot of good thoughts. I will tell you the real statistics for last 20 years. It says that most of the startups fail because there is no market need of the product prepared by the corporates. The second is funding. And there is a myth that the funding is the key reason for closure of most of the MSMEs and startups. Like being a North Indian, when I talk to any of my relatives, many of the founders, promoters, I say, paisa nahi hai. Money is not there. Every morning, most of the promoters look into their bank account and then they cut the checks. But the fact is that as a professional, we know that there are many reasons, there are many areas where working capital can be unlocked. I'm not undermining the importance of funding, but just want to break this myth that funding is the reason for closure. Funding is not the only reason. So in next 25 minutes, I will try to capture a bunch of thoughts on how the funding for early stage startup happens, how the growth stage valuation happens and then funding comes. What are MSME funding routes? What are the different routes where you can raise a fund for MSME sector? I will briefly touch upon on the SME IPO, there are SME platforms where any of the small and medium sector enterprises can list their companies, and it is there in both BSE and NSE, and those are more than 10, 11-year-old platforms. Some discussions on long connects and short connects, and then I will close the session after question and answer session. Just I want to have 5 seconds of your time to read what is written here in the slide. It is said by Mahatma Gandhi that the public should be educated to become self-reliant, and that's what our Honorable Prime Minister also says, Atmanirbhar. Once they know that they have got to stand on their own legs, it would electrify the entire atmosphere, and that's what as a professional we do. We make the businesses self-reliant by making and assuring them that they will get the funding as per their need, as per their capability, and they will be self-reliant in future so that they can provide the products and services, make the right product for the customers and grow the economy. And that's the only way, one of the major way through which we can achieve the dream of 5 trillion economy in next 5 years. Quickly cover on the startup funding. So as you see that Karnataka has a vibrant startup culture. Do anyone knows that how much total startup funding raised in 2023? Any thoughts? Any number? How much? What's the number? So total in the year 2023, $11.3 billion was raised by entire India startup. Out of this, any guess how much funding is raised by Bangalore and Karnataka? Definitely. It's close to $6.2 billion was raised by close to 450 plus startups in Karnataka. So you can see that Karnataka and Bangalore got the lion's share of entire fundraise made by India. Out of this, if I go on further bisection and dissection, close to $8.5 billion is raised by 180 plus startup which are in growth stage or later stage, towards the advanced stage of their growth journey, and close to 650 plus startup raised close to $2.5 billion, and those are early stage startup. Why I'm throwing these numbers? Those numbers are not coming out of the blue. These are the real numbers which are achieved by our entrepreneurs and who are fostering this culture, FKCCI, ICAI and similar associations. And thanks to the government and private push, there's a strong underlying current which is boosting the startup culture and giving growth to MSME in India. As the number speaks in itself, you will see that 15,000 plus startup are there in Karnataka, 700 plus are funded startup. There are 150 plus mentors in Karnataka who are helping tirelessly to giving their right knowledge and experience to the startup ecosystem. There are close to 10,000 plus state recognized startups, bunch of incubators and accelerators which are definitely helping up this building up the startup ecosystem. Here I just try to cover more of a fundraising status, fundraising stages, where you can see that largely it is divided into 3 parts. One is value of death, as largely we say when the company starts, they have no revenue, all the expenses, and their product, there is no MVP as such. And before reaching the MVP, more than 70% startups die their natural death. Who are funding those companies? There are only 2 ways. Either angels comes, angels not from the sky, angels among us who already made the money and make sure that they give and push the startup system forward. And another source of funding is FFF, friends, families, and what's the third F stands for? Anyone? It's fools. It's not literal sense fools. It's basically people who invest the money without expecting any return, but definitely they will get it eventually. After company prove their MVP and prototype is established, slowly they are commercializing their product, revenues start coming in. At that time, they raise series A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. And once at a later stage, When the company is matured sufficiently, they will go for M&A or IPO or similar transactions so that they will grow further. So here only the geographical diversification also comes, where companies spread its wings into other parts of the geography. As far as the funding part of any of the startups are concerned, and why is startup, it's MSME as well. So there are three large buckets. One is debt, second is equity, and third is quasi-debt. As you know it pretty well, in the early stage, it is largely equity through private placements. Companies are raising the capital. At a later stage, when company want to buy any equipments, or they have some revenue lines, at that times our bankers comes to our support and they fund the startups and the corporates. Then what is this quasi-debt and equity in between? These are basically mezzanine equity or bridge loan or convertible loan. At times it is also known as venture debt, where there are a bunch of specialized corporates and BFCs which are funding the startups or MSMEs as per their need. And those are convertible in a nature, like it could be convertible debentures, it could be debentures or debt with certain options. So in the interest of time, definitely it's a complete subject in itself. So I'm just touching base on the topic. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer in Q&A session. Here I try to capture all the different early stage startup, how it is valued. The biggest problem and question for any of the founder is how to understand what would be the valuation, where the anchoring point of the valuation will come. So definitely in the early stage, when you don't have a revenue, you only have a cost, how the DCF will work. Discounted cash flow will not work in that situation. So there are a bunch of methods. Burkus method is there, venture capital method is there. Those are applied and the valuation is taken. I will just take up the example of Burkus method, in which there are 5 different criteria. For example, quality of management, product quality, strategic partnership, how good the idea is, and what's the product rollout or sales roadmap. So value is given to each of the line items and then value is derived. So this is one of the method. Definitely it is not soundproof, and for all the FEMA and CA related matter, corporate law related matters, we need to go through a registered valuer, but this will help us in getting up to the anchoring point of valuation, where discussion will start with the investors. I've created one example for an early stage startup. I will just take 45 seconds of time to cover it. So this is one of the example wherein the company don't have any revenue. It is in company don't have any revenue. It is in AI and ML stage. It is creating a digital twin for aerospace engines, aircraft engines, fighter jets engines, as well as on the healthcare side also it has certain foray on the AI side. This company has a strong team of engineers, Nobel laureate and PhDs who are doing the work, but definitely the product life cycle is, establishing the product will take pretty long time. It takes 3 to 4 years, and they only have expenses. So there is a lot of uncertainty on the product development side, getting the client side and getting the eventual revenue. So it's an interesting problem, where what we did is, we created a model where we've seen that in the 8th year of the company, what would be its revenue, its contribution. Contribution is your unit sale minus unit cost, multiplied with the expected number of unit they will sell. That will become its revenue, that will become its total profit, and then we given a sufficient discounting factor to bring that value to the current date, and then we multiplied it with the multiple factors. So I will tell you how this 20x is coming up. So basically it's a small example to make you understand that how we walk around the situation to make sure we come to certain anchoring point for the valuation. Now as far as the multiplication factor I was talking about, it is largely coming from different factors. It could be advanced technology, coherent experience stream, strategic partnership that company has, digital team solution which has a lot of adjacency applied in different kind of industries and solutions. So in this way we arrive at 20x of multiple factors. Any questions? I will pause for half a minute to address any of the questions. It's not very straightforward topic. Okay. Whenever Nayak sir, I'm not getting any questions, it has two meaning. Either my audience understand everything what I said, or they have not understood anything. I will go with option one. Yep. Thank you. Okay, sir. Sir, Nayak sir is staring at me, so I will explain you in detail after the session. Yep. Thank you. So growth stage evaluation, again, like it's a completely different paradigm. To be very honest, I will not able to do justice to this topic in explaining in 1 minute. But my intent is to make you aware about the topic, and definitely you will apply it as and when the need comes in your company or it's in your client place. So largely in many of the SaaS company, it's MRR and ARR based valuation. Basically, it's MRR is monthly recurring revenue, ARR is annual recurring revenue. Or your GMV is gross merchandise value. For example, for an e-com company, whatever product, whatever you pay to the e-com company, that is GMV, gross merchandise value. And their profit, their revenue is net of the cost, which they pass through to the various vendors. There are revenue by EBITDA multiples. We all know it's an age-old valuation technique. DCF, we all know, discounted cash flow, and comparable to other corporates with a similar businesses. Those are the larger means for any of the growth stage startup where you have the revenue. Here, there is a reason I put in about the startup India registration certificate, because if you or your client have the certificate, then plethora of opportunity comes. So those are the avenues a fund can be raised. There are funding, tax and cost benefit after taking the startup registration, as well as for MSME funding also there are a bunch of benefits available when any of the company has the MSME certificate. On the funding avenues part, recently Karnataka government launched Idea to POC Elevate platform, where many of the companies came and they were connected to some of the VCs, their ideas were discussed and mentoring was provided. Along with that, government of Karnataka as well as other state government also have their fund of funds. Like in Karnataka, they have a 100 crore commitment through fund of fund mechanism for investment in any of the disruptive technologies. Beyond Bangalore cluster seed funding, there are various centers where it is started by government of Karnataka, where it made KDEP, Karnataka Digital Economy Development Program, where a lot of impetus is given to infrastructure development, creating a forums wherein many of the startups can pitch their ideas and at the same time promote the entrepreneurship culture in various clusters outside Bangalore. There are a bunch of incubators, accelerators. I'm not going to go in depth about incubators and accelerators. As you know that incubators have more of a flexible program where they help in promoting any of the ideas taken up by any of the startups. They provide all the ecosystem, be it working space, be it talent, mentorship, funding, connect to the VCs. All of those things are provided by incubators. In case of accelerators, they have more of a fixed plan wherein cohorts are taken and those are trained, nurtured, and ideas are nurtured so that the high growth startups can scale up really fast and prove their MVP, prototype, and accordingly commercialize their product. K-Tech Innovation Hub, I believe most of you might have heard about it. There are 5 places in Karnataka where K-Tech Innovation Hub was established. First one was in our Bangalore, Nama Bangalore. Then other places were Mysore. Then it is in Bangalore, Shimoga, and one more place where K-Tech Innovation Hub is there. And here basically, like entire infrastructure facility is provided for the companies which are providing hardware support or hardware product. So they have a laser cutting machine, 3D printing, metal hub, and other things where it can be used at a very discounted and no cost so that those companies can develop their product. And trust me, as a startup founder, you will understand that it is so critical in the growth journey of a startup. These are some of the list of accelerators and incubators we jotted up. You can just take a pic of it if you want to. This covers largely the startup funding part. I will pause for half a minute to address any of the questions if you have any. Sure. Yeah. All right, thank you. Now coming to the emerging trends in the MSME funding, and to be very honest, the MSME, the way it is revolutionizing the entire economy of India, it is unprecedented. Any of the established company, you know that at what rate it grow, at best 8%, 10%, 12%. So MSME, because of the low base factor, they are growing at a more significant growth rate. And that's the key reason that Indian government, all the association, our own institute, we are pushing so much on the growth of MSME sector. One small statistics I'd love to share with all of you. In 2020, we got a call from C Institute for organizing certain MSME courses for our students and working professionals. Largely it is for working professionals. At that time, we seen that the number of Udyam certificate issued was just 33 lakhs. And the total number of MSMEs in India was 6.3 crore. Can anyone please guess the number? What's the number, Udyam registered MSME number now? Any guesses? 3 crore. It is optimistic. I would love that 3 crore number should be there, sir. It is a bit lower, but yeah, it is largely fine. It is 2.18 crore number. So friends, just see that in a span of 2.5 years, we have 1.9 crore entities additionally registered, close to 1.85 crore entities registered in the Udyam certificate regime. So that shows the power of our professionals, and a big applaud for whatever we have done. So friends, there are a bunch of funding challenges that all our MSMEs are facing. As per the statistics, lakhs and lakhs of SMEs, largely micro and small industries, get closed during COVID and post-COVID. And they are not getting the sufficient support. They need a support, but largely why they are not getting it, these are some of the reasons we collated. Largely it's because of information asymmetry. How they are managing the books, they don't know how to communicate to the bankers. Our banker friends here definitely vouch for this asymmetry, this information asymmetry. There's a lack of financial know-how that how any of the discussion can be translated into CMA document. A lack of technological advancement more on the SME side. We see that in the current situation, the SMEs have a high cost of borrowing, and it could be the cost, it could be the debt which is taken from unorganized sector where they are paying to their noses 25% or 30%. I have seen bunch of founders who have taken a personal loan to fund their business, and that is coming at excruciating cost of 20 to 25%. So those are the places definitely they require most of our support and help. Another interesting factor, we have seen that the collateral taken by the company, collateral is underutilized. I doubt any of the founder, when they give collateral for their bank loan, they see it after 1 year or 2 years, whether there is a potential to top up their loan if they need. So that's where, like the guidance from the right consultants and CA really helpful and come handy. These are largely, we created a spectrum of the entire loan, how it looks like. Like there are short-term and long-term loans, where short-term is largely conventional based or your trade credit or non-fund based or fund-based limit. In terms of long-term loan, it could be a term loan or bridge loan. Now, when it comes to new age products, it could be a trade credit, your LC discounting, supply chain financing. There could be certain fund-based revenue funding or channel financing. There are different MSME specific product, for example, CGT MSE is there, CGSS, Mudra loan, SFSS are there. I will definitely touch upon each of the loan product. Definitely I will not able to discuss it in detail, but definitely I will cover most of them. There are certain new age products are also there. For example, digital microfinance and P2P lending are also came up. In terms of long-term loans, there are certain mezzanine debts, venture debts, equity is also there. And certain interesting thing came up in 2017, 18, 19, that is ICO, that is initial coin offering. But because of the dip in the crypto market, nowadays in last 2 years, none of the companies are going through ICO route. But earlier, Drive Easy and there are a bunch of other companies in India which raised the fund anywhere between $1 million to $5 million through ICO route. Coming to some of the MSME funding product, one of the famous product is Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, or it is also famously known as a Mudra loan scheme. So here up to the loan up to the amount of 10 lakh are given to the entrepreneurs to take up their any of the working capital need or capex need. Only thing is that there is no collateral required. The interest rate varies. It's on EBLR basis, linked to EBLR plus certain margin for the bank. And certain annual guarantees there close to 2% that needs to be paid to the banker. Here, interesting thing of the Mudra loan is that it is up to 10 lakh and there are 3 different varieties, Sishu, Kishore and Tarun, 50,000 up to 5 lakh and up to 10 lakh. Many of the questions I'm getting from working professionals and the CA community that why this amount is up to 10 lakh, because most of their clients are coming up with 50 lakh of request or 1 crore of request. If you see the entire MSME breakup, where micro word is there and that contributes 87% of the 6.3 crore MSMEs. Close to 12% contributes the small sector, only 0.5 to 1% is the medium sector companies. So government need to take care of all the distribution and at this definitely need to put more emphasis on micro and small companies. And that's where your Sishu and Kishore plan will come up. If you see the numbers, trust me friends, it is mind-boggling. In FY23, the total sanctioned number of Mudra loan is 4.56 lakh crore. In terms of loan disbursement, it is 4.5 lakh crore. And number of guarantee approved is 6.2 crore. Do anyone knows that what's the population of US? It is 33 crore. So you can think of we given loan to 20% of the Americans if we see on a comparative basis. So on the number side, it is huge. CGT MSE scheme. CGT MSE stands for Capital Goods Trust for Medium and Small Enterprises. Here loan up to 5 crore are given to the enterprises. And for SCs and STs there are certain concessions. Its annual guarantee fee is reduced to 0.37% recently. The guarantee coverage should be around 75% to 85% of the loan. And it is also one of the exciting places where you can find the solution of your company or your client's company. Let's see the number. The total guarantee approved is close to 1.04 lakh crore in FY23. The growth coverage is 87% and number of guarantee approved is close to 11.5 lakhs. So all the numbers, sir, it speaks in itself that actual work is happening on the ground, be it Mudra loan or be it CGT MSE. SMILE, that is SIDBI Make in India loan. Here SIDBI in collaboration with the bankers, they, in order to put more emphasis on Make in India plan, they launched this scheme, and in this one up to 10 lakh, up to 10 to 25 lakh rupee can be taken, and largely it is used for the equipment finance. So here close to 85%, 75 to 85% will be provided as a loan, and 15% needs to be contributed by the founders. Credit guarantee service scheme. Here this is another scheme where the loan quantum is up to 10 crore. So you will see that the entire loan products, it covers from 50,000 to 10 crore, you know, like your entire spectrum of all the micro, small and medium enterprises. So we have a product for all requirements. Only thing is that we need to know where to fit in it, just like a Lego pieces, you know, like you need to attach the different Lego pieces and making sure you're providing the right solutioning to the client, or at the same time, if you are a company, you need to see that what product fit best for your requirement. Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. It is an excellent scheme where a grant up to 40 lakh and convertible debt up to 50 lakh is given to the startups. And definitely it is, there are certain criteria that startups should not be more than 2-year-old. It has a certain prototype, MVP, and it needs to look towards certain growth sector, certain technology or disruptive sector. So for this purpose, DPIIT recognized various funds and various universities which set up the fund in order to disburse this Startup India Seed Fund to the startups. Revenue-based financing, it is another new way of growth finance value they raised. And you can clearly see that in 22-23, there are a bunch of IPO spree, there are main bourses, bunch of IPO came, as well as in SME, there are close to 54 IPOs we have seen so far. What are the eligibility criteria? It's very simple. The post-issued paid-up capital should be less than 25 CR. There should be a track record of at least 3 years. Even if the company is a sole proprietor or LLP and converting into PLC, private limited company, that transition is also counted. Yeah. There should be a positive net worth. There should be operating profit for 2 out of 3 financial years. A similar requirement are there for tech companies as well. Only thing is that there are a couple of more requirements where the annual revenue should not be less than 10 CR and annual growth should be 20%. And annual growth can be in terms of your non-financial numbers, for example, users or customer base or whatever metrics they are, it is relevant to them. The MSME IPO benefit, most of us, we all know about IPO benefit where there's a higher visibility and profile. If a company is a sole proprietorship and if an entity is a sole proprietorship and an entity is a private limited company, there's a greater faith and trust on a private limited company. And if a company is a private limited company and other company is a listed private limited company, the faith on private limited company is much higher. There's a higher credibility, alternate assets for the investors, and definitely those founders can also get some exit. They also get some money over a period. There are appropriate valuation matrices, exit can be given to the investors, and migration to the main bourses. Those are the key benefits coming out of the MSME IPO. Some long contact details, I will just take 15 seconds in this slide. If you see that most of the MSME and startup founders, they are connecting to their fellow, to their friends and relatives or fellow entrepreneurs or branch managers or their accountants for addressing any of the queries. Trust me, it's make more sense for founders to go to long connects, be it the right consultants, be it going to the government symposiums or any of the trade fairs, like most of you who are founders coming here, definitely this is a long connect that you are utilizing. So that make more sense for the founders rather than going to the short connects. That's pretty much from my side, open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a massively informative session with crucial takeaways for our audience. We now request CA Guru Raja Acharya, Independent Director, Karnataka Bank, and CA S. Nayak, Program Director, to extend a token of gratitude to our esteemed Chief Guest, CA Deepak Gupta. A huge round of applause, everyone.